Welcome to Operation Healing Heroes. Join us in beautiful Minocqua, Wisconsin as we feature retired Army Sergeant Andy Hendrickson.
They served for us. They sacrificed for us. Their stories deserve to be told. Every military veteran has a story to tell. Join our host, Jay Garstecki, as we honor the stories of our true American heroes, one soldier at a time. The mission today is Operation Healing Heroes. Brought to you by Great Clips. The turning of the seasons in Park Falls, Wisconsin, brings a picturesque landscape that rivals scenic destinations across the world. Paired with world-class fishing, Park Falls has become a go-to for families and companies alike. It's here that St. Croix Rods calls home.
Welcome to Park Falls, Wisconsin. As you can see here, we are made in America right here, Park Falls, Wisconsin. All the rods are handcrafted. The amount of care and time that is taken on every single rod is evident in the 32 sets of hands of the people that touch these rods from the very beginning to the very end when they end up in your hands as an angler.
Made in America is a badge of quality and integrity, a badge that St. Croix Rods brandishes proudly. American-made goods are synonymous with craftsmanship and durability. Add family to the mix, and you get the cornerstone of what St. Croix Rods was built on. Through partnerships like these, Operation Healing Heroes can reach U.S. military veterans and their families with the hope of making tomorrow better than today.
And that's why we host Operation Healing Heroes every single year here at St. Croix, taking the tour, showing the vets what we do, and really thanking them for what they've done for us. So when Jay came to us and started talking to us about a segment for Operation Healing Heroes, the very first person I thought of was Andy Hendrickson. Andy Hendrickson has been a staffer of ours for as long as I've been here, in fact, before I was here. And he's been really super engaged and always so helpful. I mean, I think it ties into the aspect of his service, right? Tying into who he is as a staffer for us, because anytime we've needed anything, Andy has been absolutely on the spot helping us out.
So I thought maybe we go on to like Fence Lake or something and do some fishing today.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have a beautiful day for
It's
fishing.
absolutely gorgeous day out here. Beautiful.
Excited to film this episode with you. It's not often I get to film with another St. Croix pro, so it's fun to be able to honor those companies that support our veterans like St. Croix, you know?
I know a little bit about Andy's story. He's been a little bit guarded about it, which I expect, but the fact is, we know that he went through some terrible things in the service of our country. And he came back and got himself together, which isn't really easy sometimes for these vets. And he's done a phenomenal job. He's the prototypical person on our staff for the way that he gives and he bleeds the brand, but also his history of service, like I said before, not only to our country, but to us here at St. Croix.
So tell me about life growing up.
I grew up down in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and did a lot of hunting and fishing as a kid with my dad and grandpa and that. And I'd go ice fishing, go out in the boat as far back as I can remember. Ice fishing up in Wisconsin is a way of life. It's what we do in the wintertime.
And what led you into the military? What point did you decide you wanted to go?
God, I've always been a very patriotic person. I know my dad always talked about being in the National Guard, but all of his stuff that he did was in Wisconsin and things like that. Grandpa was also in. He got a medical discharge in the Korea era.
Okay.
I guess it wasn't, joining wasn't really on my radar, so to speak, until the recruiter called one day, and the rest is history.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Power Pole, and by St. Croix Rods.
Operation Healing Heroes is a nonprofit organization dedicated to documenting the lives of our U.S. military veterans. In addition, we also provide financial support and treatment for post-traumatic stress. Your donation will help heal our heroes. So let's go out and see if we can find some of those fish we marked on the way in. It looked like they're about 30-something feet of water, and they were stacked up pretty good.
I joined in June of 2000.
What branch of the service did you?
I was active duty Army. Boot camp was down at Fort Knox, where the gold is, and I don't know if there's any gold in that building or not. Basic training was okay. It was basic training. Did well on the physical aspect of things. I was no ace at everything, but did well with the running and the push-ups and sit-ups and things like that. So being a hunter and being a pretty good marksman really helped me in basic training too. You just fly right through getting your qualification for the M16.
Andy sailed through boot camp, and he would make a stop at Aberdeen Proving Grounds for his advanced individual training, ultimately landing him at his duty station in Korea.
And after about 8-9 months there, 9/11 happened.
Yeah, stop all departures. Yeah, went in the Pentagon. Looks like it went in the Pentagon.
I was over there through January of 2002, so a few months, about 4 months after 9/11, and then I went right to Fort Lewis. But we knew something was gonna play out of this whole thing at some point, and we were gonna end up going back to war. And in Iraq, we were at OIF 1, Operation Iraqi Freedom One. We were first on the ground, so we had no idea what to expect. And I remember that feeling of chambering around, and one of my soldiers kind of looked at me and looked a little bit
Uneasy?
Yeah, just looked like, holy crap, here we are.
Yeah, this is real now.
This is real. I'm 23 years old. I'm in charge of a bunch of soldiers. I'm a squad leader. I'm a shop foreman, and it's insane. Once we hit ground, we were the start of things because we were the machinists. We had to make the stuff that we needed on ground because there was nothing there. We were the first people on ground. We had to make toilets, and we had to make showers out of plywood and things like that, and use a 5-gallon pail to shower with. As we got going, we'd up-armor a lot of vehicles. We'd put steel plates on the floors, expanded metal over the windshields, plates on the doors.
So you were there to make their lives better and easier.
Yes, to try to protect people. Takes time for word to get out to the enemy, to the insurgents about what's going on, but they would launch tubes out of Abu Ghraib, the city of Abu Ghraib, and they'd be in areas that we couldn't fire back. So we were soldiers in a barrel getting shot at. We were on the front lines for indirect fire. We had a lot of mortars, RPGs, rockets being launched at us. Our camp, log-based sites, adopted the name Mortar-Ritaville. We got it for going through hell. It was mainly indirect fire coming from the city. And they were firing from places we could not fire back. Then we learned they're shooting from
Civilian population areas.
Civilian areas. The three that I remember were parking lot of a mosque, parking lot of a milk factory, and a parking lot of a preschool or kindergarten type of facility. Depending on which way the wind was coming from and how much noise you were around, you could sometimes hear the tubes launch. And there was a certain amount of time where those things would lob in, and once they made contact with something, they'd blow up. And there was days when it was 2-3 times a day, middle of the day, middle of the night. You never knew when they were gonna come in. We were working 6 to 7 days a week, and the only time we had another company come in or some other people come in is when we lost somebody. And we had a couple of days just to
Mourn and grieve.
to mourn and do, and I've heard a lot of people say that they've been to sad funerals. There's nothing worse than being at a funeral in a war zone for one of your fellow soldiers that you just lost. There's nothing worse than that. I still remember that day. We had a sergeant major come in and play the bagpipes.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Great Clips, Thor Industries, and by St. Croix Rods.
You guys ever hear the one about the guy that drank the polyurethane? It was a bad ending, but a beautiful finish.
Good dad joke, man. I like that.
If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes footage, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're a U.S. military veteran in Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, or beautiful sunny Florida, log on to our website, takeavetfishing.org, to find an event near you.
I'd try a minnow for a bit.
East winds bring high barometric pressure and cooler temperatures. And apparently, fish don't like that.
Just stacked with fish down here, but they won't hit.
At least that's what pro anglers Andy and Jay are going with.
I can see my jig on the bottom, and I mean, we're right on top of the crib. I can see it in my side imaging. Well, we can obviously see them down on the bottom, but there's just certain days that if they don't want to eat, they don't want to eat.
Got east wind and
Yeah, it's pretty cold out here, man. It's it's got to be 30-something degrees, and wind blowing out of the east. It's not in our favor, but
no, it's not. Strong east wind. January 7th, 2004 is the day that my whole life changed. Hanging out in our sleep warehouse, there was 200 and some odd people, I think, in there, and I could hear the thumps from the tubes launching. So I got up and I told my soldiers, hey, get on the floor, because you didn't know where these things were gonna hit. You never know when those tubes are where they're gonna land. So I don't remember if I grabbed my stuff or I just tried to get down. And I was somewhere around being on all fours heading to the ground when they started hitting. The only thing I can really remember is I smell the powder. The explosive powder, gunpowder, whatever it was in there. That's all I really remember, and just sharp, hot pains in my neck and in my back. You know, we had some combat lifesavers that would come over and help people, and I don't remember any of it, but it was total chaos. He came over and I said, how bad is it? He said, you're okay, Sergeant. It's okay. It's okay, Sergeant. It's not that bad. And obviously I know these people, and it's like I could be the worst thing in the world and they're not gonna tell me it's bad. The Jesse, the one that we lost, he got a piece of shrapnel in his heart. There was another girl who had one of the fins off the mortar sticking out of her leg. Wasn't the scariest day of my life, but it's the day that everything changed. They had called the Blackhawks to take us into downtown Baghdad to go to the combat hospital. Injuries were, I got shrapnel in my neck and in my back, and I've got some shrapnel pretty close to my spinal cord. If my head would have been tilted just a little bit more one direction, I'd be paralyzed. Wow. And you know, my injuries were bad, but they weren't life-threatening. So I had no feeling in the left side of my head at the time from where that shrapnel went in my neck. I did stay in country. Some people wanted me gone because I looked like hell being like that, and the main reason I wanted to do it was for my soldiers, just to, it might sound stupid, but you know, you're in charge of soldiers and you gotta lead by example. And I say, you know what, I'm gonna stay in country, and it sucked. I got down in the Connex yard, which is a bunch of empty containers, like they have at shipping yards and stuff like that. I remember mortars started coming in, and I was all by myself, and I hit the deck, and I could hear them whistling over my head and blowing up around me, and that was the most scared I've ever been, was after the fact, like, holy crap, this is happening again. And luckily I didn't get hit. I had mortars not blow up not 15, 20 feet from me.
Wounded Warriors in Action provides world-class outdoor activities to Purple Heart recipients to assist in their recovery efforts, all at no cost to them. Visit www.iaf.org for more information.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org.
Operation Healing Heroes is brought to you by Power Pole, Wiley X, and by Recon Boats.
There's one.
You got one?
Yep, there's one.
Hang on, let me come net it for you.
Yep. Oh yeah, nice largemouth. Let me get him back this way.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
Awesome
Good job. Well, it took a while, but at least we got one.
That's right.
Weather conditions aside, Andy was at long last able to land a nice fish.
There she goes.
Nice.
Awesome.
Good job, bud.
Awesome.
You saved us.
Thank you, sir. You know, once I got done with my 5 years, I got out and went back to civilian life, but I still had the emotional and physical scars of being injured and being in a war zone. I was able to accept my Purple Heart Award. I don't remember what day that was, but I was able to stand at attention and be very professional about it. I've kind of been in pain ever since. Anybody that's ever had a migraine, I get them probably 4 days a week, give or take. I got numbness in my right leg, chronic pain in my back, obviously. I still get occasional dreams at night. You still get them 20 years later. I suffer from a mild traumatic brain injury too from the close explosions we had to deal with. And it's something that's probably never gonna go away. And you know, as far as the PTSD goes, I just keep myself busy. Like I said, guiding, if I'd sit around in the house all day, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I've got everything, you know, managed pretty well with that. My wife is really my rock, and we've got a little 28-month-old baby, Isabella. She's, you know, in her terrible twos, but part of that keeps me going, and I'm able to, you know, take other veterans out and do this, and that helps me heal as well, being able to take them out. One thing about veterans, people that have been injured in combat, that have earned their Purple Hearts, they want to blend in with society as much as possible. And we don't want to be put on a pedestal for what we've done. And it's in a lot of ways, it's hard for me to do this with you because I'm not trying to say, look at me, or I'm not looking for a pat on the back.
Well, it's important for people to know, though, that, you know,
Yes.
You know, you could help others by talking about
Yes.
your story, because you might be able to help another soldier who felt very similar to the way you did. I mean, every veteran I always talk to there's someone that had it worse than I did, so
Yes.
they're more deserving than I did. But that's not really the case. The reality of it is that you all did this, and you all didn't know what your fate was, and you're willing to go do what it took.
Yes,
And,
we signed that line, and you know, if I were to do it all over again, I would do it again. It would really suck going back, having all the memories from the past, but I'd do it again, and I think most of my brothers and sisters would say the same thing.
It's a common sentiment among veterans. I'd do it again. Even knowing the effects of war, U.S. military veterans would sign on that dotted line all over again. Loyalty runs deep across all branches of the military. That is why Operation Healing Heroes values its relationship with St. Croix Rods. They too honor the military, young and old. Partnering with St. Croix Rods allows us to hopefully make tomorrow better than today for all veterans in need.
You hit on the point that it's okay to talk about it. It's
Yes.
okay to say,
Yep.
hey, you know what? Some days I'm going to struggle. Other days are going to
Yes.
be better. But when the days that I'm struggling, it's good to reach out. Like you said, whether it's a friend, whether you go to your local American Legion or VFW
Yes.
or someplace to you know, talk to another veteran, just talk to somebody. I think it's important for us to make sure that we do recognize the men and women who provide this freedom for us. And if you're okay with it, I'd like to provide you with a little something here for your time with us. And on behalf of St. Croix Rods and Also a Thorn Brothers custom rod. I had this custom muskie rod made for you with a St. Croix blank, and it says, Andy Hendrickson, in appreciation of your sacrifice and service, Thorn Brothers. And that's a custom muskie rod for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I definitely want to be able to give you this because I know you've earned it. But Andy Hendrickson on the front, Hendrickson on the back. Here's a jersey for you.
Thank you.
I can't say thank you enough for your service. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Very
I'm going to be very
unexpected.
gingerly with your back.
Yeah,
but
yep.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org, and click on the nominate button.